Good morning. I'm Liliana Pearson. Thank you for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Odea Pincus. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about over the next hour.
This morning on Mornings on the Hill, we take a look at the DPS crime log to learn more about what types of crimes we're seeing on campus.
Also, we spoke to the gun shop owner that helped to stop an attack at Syracuse University.
And Hendricks Chapel is more than a building with a religious affiliation.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story this hour, we've seen all the emails. Syracuse University's Department of Public Safety lets students know when crimes have happened on campus.
But students actually have access to even more detailed information. And this morning, our own My Owens is live outside DPS to explain.
The Clery Act requires colleges and universities to disclose all campus crimes. Recently, I was here at DPS to view the crime logs for the past 2 months. This is what I was given, a 7-page handout. But a lot of students don't know this kind of information is available to them. Something of yours was stolen. You saw something suspicious, or even need to jumpstart your car. These are all reasons why you might be calling DPS. But what about all of the crimes that could be happening around you?
I wonder if most of them even know that it exists. I don't think I've seen a lot of students come in to look at it.
The list includes recent crimes such as harassment, trespassing, and even larceny. But the offense DPS officers see the most is...
The numbers, I think, is definitely probably the intoxes, particularly on the weekends, as you can imagine.
55 cases of intoxication have been listed over the past 60 days. DPS officers say most often those students are intoxicated to the point where they need to go to the hospital. But this isn't something only happening on SU's campus.
And hopefully that's what they take from it, not necessarily that, man, this place is dangerous or any different than any other city. But so you got to be aware, you got to pay attention.
DPS officers say even though the log tells you about crimes after they've been committed, it can help prevent you from being a victim.
Especially for their own personal safety. Use the services like Central Bus, the shuttles, or at least walk in groups of 3 or more.
Now you can access all of this information from any device. Simply log on to dps.syr.edu. Reporting live, I'm My Owens for Mornings on the Hill.
Time to check your weather for today. It looks like there's going to be a lot of rain over the next few days.
Christine Morton is live out on University Ave to tell us what to expect. Christine?
Good morning, ladies. Yes, it's a tad chilly out here right now. I actually had a hard time figuring out what type of jacket to wear today, as we will hit above the freezing mark, but there are some scattered showers on their way. Let's take a look at that 5-day news weathercast. So today, showers moving in later in the evening around 5 p.m. If you're headed to that career fair in the Shine Center, you might need an umbrella when leaving. And ladies, please wear some comfortable shoes as the ground will be wet. Tomorrow, nothing but rain. But good news is we're expected to hit about above 50 degrees. Friday, we have a chance of staying clear with only 20% of rain. Unfortunately, Saturday doesn't look too clear, and we might run into some rain, so please bring your umbrella to the SU men's lacrosse game versus North Carolina. And Sunday's not looking too good either, with rain and only a high of 46. So curl up with that book and do some work that you may have been avoiding. So as the old saying goes, April showers brings May flowers, but hopefully we'll get some warmer days along with some dry days. Live here on University Ave, I'm Christine Morton with Mornings on the Hill. Back to you.
Last week, Syracuse police revealed a SU student's plan for a possible on-campus mass shooting that was thwarted.
After getting his hunting license, the student, a Chinese national, went last month to the gun shop in Nelson, a Madison community about half an hour from campus.
But the student was stopped after a tip to authorities by John Lobsher, the store's owner. He said he noticed multiple red flags, like when he asked the student where he had learned to use a gun. He told him at a classroom in SU.
Lobsher said that he remembered his time at Syracuse and he didn't recall any such classes.
Since the news broke, the owner says he's received hundreds of messages from parents and students thanking him for intervening.
So, some of those have been very emotional. People are just overwhelmed that this could have happened and so thankful that it stopped so early.
SU student Sarah Gross has taken to social media to voice her concern over what she feels was her wrongful removal from president of the school's entrepreneurship club.
Gross was removed from her position after she sent a mass email out to nearly 5,000 students promoting the club's event, Entrepalooza. After Gross sent the email, she was contacted by the Whitman School's assistant dean, Lindsay Quilty, who told Gross that she had violated the university's email policy.
But Gross says she hasn't been told what policy she violated.
Awareness and give students back a voice, because I think it's so important that if you don't understand why something's happening, then you should be able to ask why and be given a direct answer.
And Gross will be taking a full-time job at Banff Media starting this summer.
Hendricks Chapel has been the melting pot of all religions and focus for inclusion at Syracuse University.
Our Alexis Scott is live in studio to tell us more about the chapel's efforts to bring more students together and to increase engagement all around.
That's right. For the upcoming academic year, Hendricks Chapel plans to make a few changes. Dean Brian Conkle, along with the rest of the staff, want to increase student engagement on and off campus. You might be asking how? Well, I spoke with him to talk about the future of the historic chapel. Hendricks Chapel has been a fixture on the quad for 87 years. Dean Conkle is aware of the chapel's history and place in students' lives.
What Hendricks Chapel brings is an educational necessity, so that students are not just getting a ticket to an entry-level job, but they're receiving a trajectory towards an extraordinary life.
Conkle says the chapel has seen increase in student engagement, but wants to do more. 2 new positions at the chapel have just been filled to help directly with just that.
But ultimately, it's about how do we connect religious, spiritual, moral, and ethical life with our students? How do we not only be an approachable chapel, but be an approaching chapel?
Not all students use the chapel for religious reasons.
I usually spend my time in the Noble Room, just doing homework. It's a great place because it's super quiet and comfy and cozy, and I usually run into friends there too.
But she believes that it's important for more students to be involved.
And so part of coming to college is the fact that you live here and this becomes your home. So if having faith as part of your home is really important to you, then it's important to have that here as well.
There are new things coming to Hendricks Chapel that are geared specifically for millennials.
What we're doing as we speak is working on a number of online initiatives where, exactly as you're saying, where we're doing more with digital communication, where people can be a part of Hendricks Chapel from a distance.
The staff plans to open up discussions with the student body to understand what they would like to see more of and act on it. The first change is moving more towards connecting with their younger audience online and creating a student mission. Reporting live in studio, I'm Alexis Scott for Mornings on the Hill.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, Sinclair Broadcasting Company has gotten itself into some controversy.
Now journalism schools across the country are condemning Sinclair's actions. We'll tell you how the Dean of Newhouse is responding.
Also coming up, we'll tell you about changes in the care for graduate students. Stay with us for stories and much more on Mornings on the Hill. Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. 2 undergraduates here at SU were named Poets and Quant's Best and Brightest undergraduate business major list.
Whitman seniors Catherine Cummings and Justin Harris received the honor, which, quote, honors the most accomplished seniors at top business schools across the country.
Cummings is a triple threat majoring in advertising, retail, management, and economics. Surprisingly, Cummings says she originally wanted to drop out of Whitman.
For me to even graduate from business school, that was just such a feat in itself. And now for me to be published on this publication is just amazing.
Now Cummings will begin her career with Macy's department stores in New York City.
Harris, a finance and real estate double major, will be pursuing a startup business post-graduation. The Syracuse Graduate Student Organization recently voted to change their health care plan for graduate assistants and graduate fellows.
Health insurance is transitioning to what GSO President Jack Wilson calls a 90% plan. Students will only have to pay $1 out of every $10 of health care costs they are charged. The plan will cost students $500 a year.
Wilson says the new plan will be big savings for graduate employees.
Well, this change has been in discussion since April of 2015, so well over 2 years now. And the primary concern was, well, mostly healthcare costs.
A group hoping to form a graduate student union does not support the change. We'll have more on that in our second half hour. The Sinclair Broadcast Group owns 173 local TV stations around the country. Most of those stations have a staff of local journalists reporting about their communities.
But recently, those newsrooms have been in the news because of a controversial promo. Our Alana Selden is live in studio to explain.
Thanks, Odea and Lily. Sinclair Corporate wrote the promo and defends it as calling out the serious problem of fake news and promising unbiased reporting to its viewers. But the former journalist now leading the Newhouse School sees it very differently.
I was shocked and appalled. I felt like I was watching something from some authoritarian state-dominated media. I couldn't believe that this was happening in the United States.
That's Newhouse Dean Lorraine Branham talking about her reaction to the video of Sinclair anchors around the country reading a prepared script. Branham decided she had to speak out. The promo has been a topic of discussion in the Newhouse newsroom.
We as journalists have enough challenges right now with people not thinking we're credible. And to have a news organization that represents so many stations and so many journalists feeding into that, I just think is really unfortunate.
Critics say the wording of the promo seemed to echo President Trump's frequent attacks on fake news. Some journalism students were also alarmed.
When you're put in a position like that, it challenges your journalistic integrity. So now it's like you're not saying what your thoughts are. You're not saying the truth to the people.
Branham says that's what motivated her to co-sign a letter to Sinclair, along with deans of schools such as the University of Maryland, USC, George Washington, and many others.
We send many students to work for these stations. We have lots of alums who work for them now. We want to make sure that the environment in which we're sending our students off is one that upholds the ethics, the values, the integrity that we teach here at Newhouse.
Dean Branham says while this is a concern, she's hopeful this won't affect the working relationship Newhouse has with Sinclair Broadcast Group. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Alana Selden for Mornings on the Hill.
Mayfest and Block Party are just in a couple weeks. Block Party tickets featuring Gucci Mane and SZA went on sale on Monday. Did you get your tickets?
Oh, I did, but only eventually after some technical problems. And based on campus response on Twitter, other students experienced the same difficulties. Alison Quagmire is here on with the buzz.
That's right. Twitter blew up after students were blocked out of buying tickets on Monday. The pre-sale started at noon, but the website malfunctioned and no one was able to get a ticket. And that's when people took to Twitter. We've got one student over here tweeting, if y'all didn't, if you missed Block Party this year, I recorded it for y'all. It's simply a picture of the website. Another student simply tweeted his Bitmoji taking the loss, holding an L. Another student tweeted, had them in my cart twice, Ticketmaster not being able to process my request. Come on, fam. A few other students also tweeted at Ticketmaster, like this one who tweeted in all caps, whose manager do I need to speak to? Ticketmaster was responding to some of the tweets, but that didn't satisfy everybody. University Union did eventually put another sale out. This guy wasn't, not that guy, wasn't impressed. It happened at 5 p.m. on Monday, and most students were eventually able to purchase their tickets. That's all for Orange Social today. I'm Alison Quagmire. Now back to you.
This weekend, the group Wishmakers on campus at Syracuse University is holding a 5K to raise money.
And our Epiphany Caitling is live in the studio this morning with details about the organization and their colorful event.
Thank you, Liliana and Odea. I'm joined this morning by Hannah Pels, the president of Wishmakers at SU. Wishmakers are holding a 5K color run this Saturday to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Hannah, before we talk about the 5K, will you tell me a little bit about Wishmakers?
So Wishmakers is a student-run organization. Our main goal is just to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Central New York. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation grants the wishes of children with life-threatening illnesses. So their wishes can range from anything from, I want to go to Disney World, to I want to see the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, so this is the 4th year that you've done the 5K color run. What is the preparation for that like?
It's a lot of preparation that starts in the fall where we start putting in our budget and we have to figure out every little last detail. So we need the money for auto to be there. We need someone to clean up after the color because it makes a huge mess. We have to order the color, decide what colors we want, and it's just a long process, but it's so worth it in the end.
How many colors do you have, and like what are the stations like for the color run?
There's a few colors. We do a lot of orange and blue. It's just to have a little school spirit, but we also love the pinks and the blues because they're fun as well. We have 2 color stations, so we have our volunteers that throw it on the runners. It's more of a fun run, so you can stop at the color station and get all sorts of color all over you and take pictures just to put up for the Instagram.
Okay, so when you register for this 5K, you can either walk or run. What is the route like for the participants?
Sure, so part of the Healthy Monday Move It initiative, they have a Monday mile around campus, and so 5K is approximately 3 miles, so we just do the Monday mile 3 times in a loop right through campus.
Okay, so Wishmakers works with Make-A-Wish from Central New York. How will the money help them?
So all the money just goes right to them and they decide what to do with it. Sometimes what they need the money for is plane tickets to go to Disney, or I know one little boy, he wanted to build a tree house, and so they had to buy all the supplies, hire a contractor to build the tree house for the little boy, so he was able to do that.
Okay. So registration for the 5K is $20 and it is on Saturday the 14th. Thank you, Hannah, for joining us today. I'm Epiphany Catling, live in studio for Mornings on the Hill. Coming up after the break, Goldstein Auditorium will come alive this weekend in a monstrous way. Stay tuned for that and much more after the break.
Welcome back to our show, and if you've walked into the Shine Student Center this week, you've probably seen all the Frankenstein monster paintings and posters.
And it's all about one of the largest student organizations on campus, the First Year Players, and their annual spring musical. Now our own Caitlin Pearson is here to give us an inside look.
Thanks, guys. With opening night for FYP's production of Young Frankenstein just a day away, I had the chance to go behind the scenes as the final preparations are being made to make the show spectacular.
Whether you are designing the costumes, building the set, or painting the final details, there is a lot of work that goes into putting on a musical, a challenge the members of FYP have taken on for 26 years.
So First Year Players, it is a student-run theater organization for non-majors. So you can't be a performance major like musical theater and be in First Year Players.
While the organization revolves around an annual spring musical, it becomes much more.
But really the idea is finding community and building a great experience and a great community off of something that we all love, and we all love the theater. So I think our motto is, we do a show every year, but throughout the year and then throughout your life, ideally, you're going to have those connections that you build with people from FYP, with your family.
Shows range from well-known Tony winners to quirky comedies, like this year's production.
This year we are doing Young Frankenstein. It's Mel Brooks' musical. It's based on the famous movie, which is based off of Frankenstein, the famous story. So it is a hilarious show. It's going to be a great time.
You can find posters with information about the show all around campus and even right here on the grassy knoll. And going into this final week of excitement, Michael wants the first years to remember what's really important.
Once that experience ends, you miss it the second it goes. So I just want them to remember how lucky they are to be a part of this group and to be a part of, be making these incredible friends and to be putting on such incredible work.
Now tickets are on sale at the Shine box office as the show runs tomorrow through Saturday at 8 p.m. And I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but it is one of my favorite comedies of all time. So I'm sure the show
looks
so good. It's going to be a blast.
So good. Personally, I've never seen it, so this is probably going to be one of the things that I'm going to have to do with my time here in the next couple weeks.
Lily. We're going to go.
We're going to go together. It'll be a ton of fun. Thanks, and along with Caitlin and our other 10:30 host, Gianna, she joins us now. Our final story this half hour, the biggest night of a student's fashion college career is approaching.
It's the annual Senior Collection Fashion Show for students in the College of Visual and Performing Arts. In just 2 weeks, 19 seniors will showcase their creativity in a runway show with 6 hand-designed pieces.
This much anticipated night has been in the works all year, but students have been thinking about their professional collections for much longer.
Thinking about it since I walked into the warehouse freshman year. Obviously you see all the seniors working on it when you're a freshman. and it's so exciting. Everyone's here all hours of the day. You see all the craziness that goes on, so just so much to look forward to.
The Senior Showcase is April 26th in the Shine Student Center with shows at 12:30 p.m. and 7 p.m.
You can pick up tickets at the Shine box office. What I wouldn't do to be able to make my own clothes, guys.
No. That's just a level of craft that I have never had.
They're so talented and so unique. It's truly fascinating to see.
And that'll do it for us. I'm Odea Pincus.
And I'm Liliana Pearson.
Thanks for watching, Orange Nation. Don't go away. Mornings on the Hill continues right after this break.
Good morning, I'm Caitlin Pearson. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Gianna Astorito. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about in our second half hour.
Graduate student employees rally in protest of a new healthcare plan.
And 2 Syracuse alumni want the Jim Brown statue removed from South Campus.
And meet one small organization on campus that has a tremendous impact on the Syracuse community.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story this half hour, some Syracuse graduate employees are unhappy about the changes to their new healthcare plan.
Our Zach Staten has us live in the studio about how they're voicing their complaints.
That's right, Gianna. They're certainly not being discreet about it either. After the Graduate Student Organization voted to pass the new plan, members of Syracuse Graduate Employees United were less than pleased. Many were at the meeting where the vote occurred and walked out visibly frustrated, and yesterday they decided to voice their opposition.
The teachers united will never be defeated! The teachers united will never be defeated!
Nearly 50 SU community members protested on the steps of Hendricks Chapel. They're upset about the new graduate student health care plan passed by GSO last week.
A great majority of the graduate students, they're going to be paying more in health insurance costs. And the only thing that they've offered us in return for that is a small subsidy to offset this.
The new plan would actually decrease health care costs by nearly $1,000.
Graduate employees will be saving at least $1 million a year in healthcare costs.
But members of Syracuse Graduate Employees United, who hope to form a union on campus, believe the plan is only effective for those who don't really need healthcare coverage.
An answer like that, you're young and you're healthy. It's something you only do if you're expecting people not to use it.
Prepped with various signs, buttons, and petitions, the message was clear. The group believed they weren't being listened to, and it was time for change.
Get further to our goal of establishing a collective bargaining relationship with the university so that we can stop begging them for changes and start making demands to make our lives better.
Multiple students took the bullhorn to speak, and even SU professor Biko Gray voiced his support for the grad workers.
I want to say I support you guys because my health care, my health, my existence is connected to an idea that corporatized my body and turned me into profit margins.
Now, Daniel says the plan is going into effect whether the grad students like it or not, and there's not been much consultation coming from the administration. The new plan passed last week with 24 votes affirming the resolution. Reporting live in studio, I'm Zach Staten for Mornings on the Hill.
It's time for another check on your weather, and a few weeks into April, I am just itching for spring to finally come.
Our Christine Morton is live out on University Avenue to let us know what is going to come. Christine?
Good morning, ladies. Yes, the sun was actually just trying to peer through. It has passed the freezing mark. We are in our 40s, but don't get too cozy because showers are still on their way. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast. So we have today we have showers moving in later in the evening around 5 p.m. If you're headed to that career fair in the Shine Center, you might need an umbrella when leaving. Tomorrow, we have a 100% chance of rain, but good news is we are expected to hit above 50 degrees with a high of 53. Just in time will the rain be moving out for that Chiefs game. Friday, we have a chance of staying clear of some rain with only a 20% of chance of some precipitation. Saturday, unfortunately, our luck of staying clear might run out as we have a 60% chance of rain. So don't forget that umbrella if you're walking to the Carrier Dome for that for the Syracuse men's lacrosse game. Sunday, I'm sorry to say, but Sunday doesn't look much better, as we will also see a 90% chance of rain and only a high of 46. So my recommendation is to curl up with a really good book and to do some work that you may have been avoiding. So they do say that April showers brings May flowers, but hopefully we'll get some dry days and warmer temperatures. Live here on University Ave, I'm Christine Morton with Mornings on the Hill. Back to you.
NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown is a legend here at SU.
But now his legacy is being challenged. Our Omnea Abushnab joins us live in the studio with more.
Thank you, Caitlin and Gianna. Right outside of the Clifford J. Ensley building is Plaza 44, where the statues of the Orange legends stand. Jim Brown's statue in particular has been causing a lot of controversy on and off campus recently. The statue of Jim Brown was unveiled in 2015, and almost 2 years later, last May, Samantha Scholar and Seth Quam, two Syracuse alums, called for its removal. One current senior doesn't agree.
I really don't think that it's justified yet to take it down. Maybe if more things come out and a lot more accusations come out, maybe might be time to think about it, but I think right now it's just instant reaction.
Brown had a history of domestic and sexual violence. He was investigated at least 6 times, but never convicted. Many know Brown as an activist and one of the greatest football players of all time, but his history of alleged violence often goes unmentioned. In a letter from last December, Scholar and Quam addressed the need to recognize Brown's complexity. This freshman agrees.
I think that his statue should be taken down because, as for a victim, that would just be a constant reminder that he's being honored. Despite what he did for the university, if he admitted to being domestically violent, that just, it kind of puts away what he did and says, well, we can look past that and we can honor him.
Scholar and Quam demanded time with Chancellor Syverud, the Director of Athletics, and the University Communications Director. They're both pushing the university to reconsider Brown's statue, his Aarons Award, and the branding of the number 44 in general. But a graduate student I talked to doesn't agree.
Well, I think the number 44 kind of goes beyond just Jim Brown as a person. I mean, it's so many people involved with it. It's the community now, and its values and what it stands for is more than just one person.
As of now, there is no plan to remove Brown's statue or wipe his legacy from around campus, but Scholar and Quam are continuing their efforts, and the conversation surrounding Brown is certainly picking up. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Omnea Abushnab.
So if you're a Newhouse senior or grad student, I'm sure we've all heard the question, are you looking for a job?
Question that nobody wants to answer. Well, you're in luck because the annual career fair for Newhouse is today.
Feel professional and you look professional, that's going to allow you to put your best foot forward.
More than 400 students are expected to fill the Shine Center for the Newhouse Recruitment Collective today. Graphic design, public relations, and broadcasting companies are just a few of the businesses expected to attend.
And the Newhouse Career Development Center Assistant Director, Bridget Littinger, says be ready, because some on-the-spot interviews will be taking place.
Students, that's why I think practicing makes perfect, because if you don't go in there with your hat in the game, knowing what you're going to do and have that research down, that's when the anxiety is going to get the best of you.
The event is from 2 to 5 today in the Shine Student Center.
The Hearst Awards are given to students for outstanding work in college journalism.
SU senior Sam Fortier is a magazine major who won 6th place for his piece on the closing of St. Anthony's, a New Jersey school. His story highlighted the end for the high school basketball mecca and also a trend in Catholic urban high schools shutting down.
Her story was like one of the most ambitious reporting things they've ever done. They sent me to Jersey City, New Jersey for 4 days. And I spent a lot of time there digging in with the main subject, digging in with the sense of place.
Fortier also recently finished a writing piece for the Washington Post about Darius Bazzelli, committing from Syracuse and deciding to go to NBA's G League. For many of us, recreational sports were a huge part of our lives growing up.
But playing a sport is not always an option for some children. Our Sarah Bonadies joins us live to show us how the organization's working to give kids the opportunity to play soccer while also achieving their academic goals.
Tilly's Touch began in 2009 with a simple goal in mind, to give every child the opportunity to play soccer even if they lacked the proper equipment. But now the organization has expanded to give students the tools they need not just on the field, but inside the classroom.
Soccer. It's a sport played in over 200 countries, across seas and international borders. And here in Syracuse, it's a common language among students that come from all different countries and backgrounds.
But the one area where we found that these kids feel at home or feel at ease is on a soccer field.
But longtime coach Dale Johnson realized not every student had the opportunity to play or own proper equipment. That's what led Johnson to found Tilly's Touch, a soccer league that provides students with the tools they need to play as well as the tools to success.
Because ultimately our goal at Tilly's Touch is that the kids graduate high school and they go to college.
A goal Johnson says the organization has been able to achieve.
We have a 100% graduation rate. All of our kids that have been with us at least 3 years in our travel program and our rec program have graduated high school, and they've all gone on to college.
And in a school district with a graduation rate 20% below state average, Johnson says that means something.
Very proud of that fact.
He credits his success to the organization's tutoring program.
So these guys, they come in, they play soccer for an hour, hour and a half, and then we break off and they do reading.
But to the kids at Tilly's Touch, it's all about the game.
So it's actually fun. Yeah, it's fun. When you play it, you feel like you want to play forever.
On and off the field, Tilly's Touch is working to help students achieve their goals, no matter what they may be. Johnson says the soccer study program uses soccer as an incentive for students to get active while also receiving an education. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Sarah Bonadies.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, our own Alyssa Candiotti will sit down with a campus organizer for It's On Us to discuss Sexual Assault Awareness Month here at SU. Also coming up, how do you become a professional wrestler? We take a look at one Central New York school where Hard Knocks takes on a literal meaning. Stay with us for those stories and much more here on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. I'm Alyssa Candiotti. We're joined this morning by Emily Duran, a campus organizer for It's On Us here at SU. So Emily, we're 2 weeks into Sexual Assault Awareness Month. What is this month's mission and what is It's On Us doing here on campus?
Yeah, so It's On Us is a national campaign to shift the culture around sexual assault on college campuses, and this month is kind of a month of concentrated activism. We're really focused on raising awareness, getting information out about resources, and getting folks engaged with these issues.
Excellent, and you guys have some events planned. One is tonight and the rest of the month. What exactly are these events?
Yeah, so one event tonight is a screening of Misrepresentation, which kind of talks about women in the media and how they're portrayed. And tomorrow it will be followed by a discussion. We'll have cookies, so kind of encourage folks to come out to those. We also have events like next week we have a panel featuring some of the administrators working on these issues, and you get to talk with them. They also provide lunch, so keeping with that theme of food.
Always food.
So yeah, just tons of stuff like that. Starting those small conversations.
Excellent. And speaking of conversations, sexual assault has been an ongoing discussion in these recent months. So what do you think students can do to report incidents if they come across anything like that here on campus?
Yeah, so a great place to start is a counseling center, whether you're directly impacted or whether you're a bystander, because they're a confidential resource and they can lead you to the right place. So, and then from there you can choose not to file a report, you can file an informal complaint, a formal complaint, an actual report, whatever you choose to do, whatever you decide what's best for you.
Absolutely. And now this is an ongoing discussion, especially in this recent time. So what do you see as the future, whether it's in 5 years or 10 years, of how these incidents will be reported and even handled on college campuses?
Yeah, well, obviously there's a lot of work to do, and I think that we're moving in a positive direction, especially with the recent movements happening. And so I'm hoping that in the future it becomes a little bit easier to report. I mean, SU itself has been working on its own initiatives to make it easier to report for students. So I think that we're heading in a positive direction.
Excellent. Exactly the way we want to go. And for any people you're giving last advice for how to get involved in the coming month, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say come to an event, reach out to us because we'd love to have you. Even just, following us on Facebook, staying engaged, just staying connected with us is some of the best things that you can do.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Melissa Candiotti. Back to the news desk.
Gucci Mane will be headlining this year's Block Party concert with SZA as an opener.
There was buzz on Twitter with one person posting, "Yo, SU coming in clutch with getting Gucci Mane and SZA for Block Party."
We went out to get some more student reactions.
I have to agree.
I mean, I'm not psyched about it. I'm not really a big fan of Gucci Mane, but I mean, I guess it'll be a good concert.
Honestly, I didn't know who Gucci Mane was. I think that's like kind of weird. Like, I got the tickets, but like it's just like a social environment for me.
Myself and my roommate told all of our friends that we thought Gucci Mane was going to be coming because we looked at his previous the places that he was going on tour to. We saw that he was going to a few colleges. We thought he was kind of right in that position where he would be kind of not too famous, but famous enough.
The concert will be taking place on April 27th in the Carrier Dome, with doors opening at 6:30.
Beginning this fall, Syracuse University will be launching the Syracuse Reads programs, and this will be for all first-year and transfer students.
The university will provide a copy of Trevor Noah's memoir, Born a Crime, prior to the students' arrival on campus for the 2018 and 2019 academic year. Noah was born in South Africa. He's a comedian and a host of Comedy Central's The Daily Show.
The book was recommended by Chancellor's Workgroup on Diversity and Inclusion. Senior Shayla Nichols likes the choice.
I think this program is a really good idea, and I wish that it was something that had been offered to me as a freshman. And I think that it'll help solve the issue of segregation on campus between communities.
Current students can apply to lead discussion groups about the book. To become a peer facilitator, you can apply at the provost.syr.edu. Applications are due April 18th.
Good morning, I'm Jose Cuevas with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. This past Sunday, WrestleMania came to Bourbon Street in New Orleans as nearly 80,000 fans packed the Mercedes-Benz Superdome from all over the world. It's obviously very popular, but just how do you become a professional wrestler?
Inside Shoppingtown Mall, there's a school where bumps and bruises are part of the curriculum.
I don't want to look myself in the mirror when I'm 40 and say, I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. I want to say, I'm a pro wrestler.
His classmates have similar aspirations.
I was the only girl here. I was nervous. And now it's like back of my hand.
However, falling over and over again on thinly padded planks of wood isn't easy.
It hurts. It hurts every inch of your body. What we do hurts every single inch of your body.
Regardless, many still downplay it.
It's fake, it's fake, it's fake. It's what we do is very, very, very physical.
There's a lot of misconceptions about professional wrestling, but one thing that holds true is that it is actually one of the toughest sports that one can partake in.
I've had football players, I've had basketball players, I'm talking about SU football players, SU basketball players, come into this school and try their hand at it, and just like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Few have stuck with it.
I can't tell you how many people have gone through here and just give up after one class.
It may be scripted, but the damage is real.
There are guys who come in here and start and they think the ring's a trampoline, and then they hit it and they're like, oh, well, that's very hard. My body is destroyed from 20 years of this. And that doesn't happen if I'm jumping around on a trampoline for 20 years.
Despite all of this, some are driven by more than their love of pro wrestling.
I'm a guy who would pretty much never finish where I started ever before. I just needed for this to be the one thing that I didn't fail at.
If you want to learn more about the Institute of Professional Wrestling, you can check out their Facebook page at Pro Wrestling Institute. Now on to SU Lacrosse, who took on Cornell yesterday. The men's lacrosse team struggled to contain the Big Red right from the get-go. With Cornell scoring 2 goals within the first 5 minutes, the Orange would make it level at 2, shortly thereafter thanks to Brendan Bomberry. But Cornell will consistently control hitting the net, with 6 of their players scoring at least 2 goals. Cornell would go on to win 13-8.
And that's your sports update. I'm Jose Cuevas. Coming up next, a club for ceramics majors on campus that's making a difference. Plus a look at what's to come this weekend in Syracuse. Stay tuned.
Thanks for sticking with us. We end our show today with a look at one organization on campus that's been around since the beginning.
And by beginning, we mean 1870. Our own Nicole Dementri joins us now with the story.
Today, Syracuse University has more than 300 extracurricular group activities, something seemingly for everyone, including those in ceramics.
Just how does someone get involved with the Shaped Clay Society?
I don't have a good answer for that.
Others simply sign up.
Well, it's just sort of like the club that all the ceramics grads join, so I just showed up.
The Shaped Clay Society is a club few know outside of the ComArt hallways.
It's been around for quite a long time.
And by long time, Geller means since the beginnings of Syracuse University.
It's had different names. It was called the Threshold Potters.
Currently, there are 15 members in Shaped Clay, including undergrad, grad, and adult learners. They only come together a few times a year to actually throw pots.
Aside from being a home for ceramics majors, the public can do their part with just $20.
So no matter what size or shape, it's just $20 a bowl. And you pick a bowl, you pay, and then downstairs there's people serving soup, and you can take your bowl and go get lunch.
People were lining up at the door like half an hour before the event even started, so to have that level of community support was really kind of exceptional to see.
That's the image every September during the club's annual Empty Bowls fundraiser, which raises money for local food pantries in central New York.
Just like thousands of bowls, and it was so crowded.
To date, the club has raised over $250,000 solely for the food bank.
So we've raised quite a significant amount of money.
The organization's philanthropic mission earned them an Orange Circle Award from the university. The award recognizes those that go, quote, above and beyond in their daily lives.
I feel really honored to have kind of just walked into this organization. So the heavy lifting's been done. It's just fun for me to be a part of now.
The organization will continue those philanthropic efforts with another fundraiser in the Comstock facility during graduation weekend. Now, all those proceeds will go towards ceramics scholarships. I'm Nicole Dementri, reporting for Mornings on the Hill.
I'm Allison Caliguire, and here's what's going on this weekend here on the Hill. Tomorrow is the premiere of the first-year Players production of Young Frankenstein. That's at 8 p.m., and if you miss it on Thursday, don't worry, you can also go on Friday or Saturday night. On Friday at 12:15, take a break with Feel Good Friday Yoga. That takes place in the Sky Barn on South Campus. Orange football is back on Friday night. The spring preview is in the Carrier Dome at 7 p.m. Fans and students will get the chance to meet players and coaches before the game at 6. On Saturday, men's lacrosse is playing the University of North Carolina at 4 p.m. in the Carrier Dome. Make sure you catch the late night movie at the Gifford Auditorium. The Office of Student Activities is showing The Commuter at 11 p.m. And on Sunday, enjoy your afternoon with some live music at the Jazz Jam at Funkin' Waffles downtown. That starts at 3 p.m. And that's Weekends on the Hill. For this week, I'm Allison Caliguire.
Thanks so much for that, Allison. And so finally in this hour, today is National Pet Day. So in light of this special holiday for sure, we're going to look at some familiar furry friends we have.
Are any of your furry friends
I
up
will
there?
say in the top left corner, that's my dog Dixie. She's
and
making a friend.
Bottom right is my kitty cat dog.
Oh,
cat
dog.
Cat
That's
dog.
interesting.
Originally named Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I am very good at the name, so.
Change the name.
But look,
okay.
who's
And
pet iguana lizard?
It's a gecko, actually.
gecko.
That's our
A gecko.
reporter, Odea Pincus. That's her gecko, Ramon.
Oh my gosh.
A unique pet for sure.
Yeah.
And just all the cute little adorable
They're all
dogs
adorable.
and kittens. And
I
look
think,
at
you know what?
Almea's dog
I'm a
as
little
well.
sad that we don't have them here in studio.
I know.
That feels like a
Unfortunately
missed opportunity.
we don't, but thank you so much for joining us today on Wednesday for Mornings on the Hill. I'm Kayla Pearson, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
And I'm Gianna Estorito. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll be seeing you next Wednesday live at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.